Reminded me of Sunday night radio back in the 60s. And to me that was quite an exciting time, but as you get older, you aren't quite as excited as much anymore. We've been last week looking at Daniel. We looked at Daniel's chapter 1 and 2, and we were asking ourselves about Daniel. It's about the vision and the obedience of Daniel, and it's basically how do I know the will of God for my life. And the things that we looked at last week were that you are where you are because that's where God wants you. Number one, you want to know God's will for your life, realise that you are exactly where God wants you to be right now. That's the most important thing. And number two, that life is all about Jesus and standing up for Jesus. So you want to know the will of God for your life? They're the first two fundamental things. Understand and appreciate that you are where God wants you to be. And number two, you should be realising that life is all about Jesus and making sure that others know about Jesus. And today we're going to look a little bit further into Daniel chapter 3. And before we do, shall we pray? Dear Lord God and Heavenly Father, as we come before you now, Lord, we would ask that indeed the troubles, the cares, the worries of this world will be put to one side. So, Lord, that we may concentrate and rest in you. Help us, Lord, as we look at your word, that we will be doers also of the word, not just hearers. Help us, Lord, to put into practice the things that you are telling us. Lord, we know and thank you for the great vision, the great understanding that Daniel had, that he was able to share that with us today, so far into his future. We thank you, Lord, in Jesus' blessed name. Amen. Well, let's have a look at Daniel chapter 3. And I've called it, as you can see up there, Knowing God or the Great Big Dummy Stick. So you can have it two ways. You can either know God and know that where you are is where God wants you to be and that you're part of God's life and love. And as we said, you've got to put your gloves on because you're going to get your hands dirty. Or, you can, because things don't go your way, you can put the giant dummy stick. Let's have a look at what I mean. I'll stand over here out of the way a little bit. Thanks, Andrew. That next one? We'll have a look at Daniel chapter 3. King Nebuchadnezzar made an image of gold, 60 cubits high and 6 cubits wide, and set it up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. A cubit is basically a foot, which was the length of you from your elbow to your wrist. And that's a foot because, believe it or not, from there to there, when you ask people what's bigger, that to there or your foot, you'll always say this is. But from there to your wrist, generally basically the same size as your entire foot. So that's a cubit, so you get the foot long. So that was 60 feet high, 20 odd metres, and it's set up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. 60 foot high, most telephone towers you see drive your Sydney at least are 60 foot high, so that's what it looked like, but it wasn't set up on a mountain, it was set up on the plain. He then summoned the satraps, prefects, governors, advisors, treasurers, judges, magistrates, and all the other provincial officials to come to the dedication of the image he had set up. So the satraps, prefects, governors, advisors, treasurers, judges, magistrates, and all the other provincial officials assembled for the dedication of the image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up, and they stood before him. Then the herald loudly proclaimed, I thought maybe these days it would have been a telegraph, nations and peoples of every language, this is what you are commanded to do. As soon as you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, you must fall down and worship the image of gold that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Why has he done that? Remember, he had a dream. And Daniel told him about the dream and told him that he was the special privileged one that God has revealed to him what the future was all about, and that he indeed was precious in the sight of God, and he indeed was going to be the mightiest king of all. So, and after Daniel had told him about that dream and the vision of what it all meant, he realised that he was important. I mean, after all, God had chosen him to be the best. And so, he wanted everybody to know that he was the best. Makes sense. And so he did that. Let's read on. But there are, and went on a bit further, and people came up to him and said, but there are some Jews who, some people came into Nebuchadnezzar and said, but there are some Jews who have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, who pay no attention to you, your majesty. They neither serve your gods nor worship the image of gold you have set up. Furious with rage, Nebuchadnezzar summoned Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. So these men were brought before the king, and Nebuchadnezzar said to them, is it true, Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the image of gold I have set up? Now when you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe and all kinds of music, if you are ready to fall down and worship the image I made, very good. But if you do not worship it, you will be thrown immediately into a blazing furnace. Then what God will be able to rescue you from my hand? Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego replied to him, King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. Now, if we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from him, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up. So what we have, once again, people who know about Daniel and how he interpreted Nebuchadnezzar's dream, and Nebuchadnezzar knew about Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego as friends of Daniel because he promoted them. Now they've come there and they're refusing to bow down to this golden statue. Now, Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego could have quite easily said, oh yeah, but we're a bit deaf. Or I'm going to rely on my cultural heritage and historical background that, please forgive us, blah, blah, blah. But no, they were bold before the king. They said, hey, sorry, life is all about Jesus. And I'm going to serve him. What he asked me to do, I'm going to do. I'm sorry. Well, Nebuchadnezzar, of course, said, that's okay. I forgot. We really serve God, so just get on with doing it. No, what happened to Nebuchadnezzar? Next. Let's have a look, first of all, what we learned out of those last couple of readings. The points to ponder. We see God, but do it our way. Nebuchadnezzar fell down when Daniel had interpreted the dream to him. He understood what it was all about. He understood who God was. That he was the one, the great king of all under heaven. I am the greatest. God has chosen me for this particular job. He's given me this gift. He's given me this talent. He's given me this ability. I am the greatest king of ever. God has actually got a special relationship with me. And you people had better realise that and start bowing down to me. You see, unfortunately, Nebuchadnezzar saw God, understood who God was, but didn't comprehend and did the message, did the commands that he was given to do. Given his ability, he ended up doing it his way. Bible study the other Thursday night, we looked at Acts, where the disciples were told to go and preach the word to all Samaria, everything else, but in the meantime, wait. Wait until the Holy Spirit comes. In other words, don't do anything. So what did the disciples do? They decided, because they looked at the Bible somewhere along the line and said, the Old Testament, we've got to put someone in Judas's place. Sorry, God said, wait till the Holy Spirit comes on you before you do anything. But they, trying to please God, knew what Jesus had just said to them, but wanted to do it their way. And they got it wrong. You see, if the disciples can get it wrong from the vision that they see of God, they had concrete instructions from Jesus. Nebuchadnezzar saw the reality of life. He saw the importance of his greatness. But instead of using his greatness the way in which God would want him to use his greatness, he did it. Who sings it? Frank Sinatra. I did it my way. I did it my way. We in the Christian church say to one another, say to ourselves, I've been a Christian for 4 years, 2 years, 100 years. God's specially spoken to me and you're going to do it my way. And if you don't like it, I'm out of here. Funny thing is, God loves individuals.
Oh dear.
He died for them. But he also loves the church. And us as individuals aren't individuals doing it our way. We're the church.
Amen.
We're the congregation. We only operate when we're in the body. Really, truly. We need to be God. How God sees the church is as his bride. He doesn't see me as an individual as his bride, but us collectively as his bride. We tend to rush ahead. We tend not to listen. We do it our way. Now, we can be, like Nebuchadnezzar, proud of our talents. You know, after all, God gave it to me, and this is my gift, this is my abilities, this is my talents. God gave it to me, and I'm going to use it the way in which I think God wants me to use it. Or we submit to God and say, well, God, you've given it to me. Walk with me how to use it. Just let me see, let me understand. Because what happened was, Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, they were rulers over provinces. And they came before Nebuchadnezzar and they said, basically, Nebuchadnezzar, the stuff you're hearing is wrong. We really don't have to give you an account of what we've done about this matter. You've got the wrong information. But you're probably not going to listen to us anyway, so that's it. But, by the way, we will not be bound down to an idol because it's wrong. And if you throw us in the furnace, well, that's our life, that's how it should be. I'm submitting myself to God. I'm submitting myself to Jesus. I know that my God will take care of me. If I've got it wrong, he'll do something and stop me. And if we're meant to die, time's up, so be it. But even if our God doesn't save us, it doesn't matter. Because we're not going to do it anyway. Because we trust God. We know that God, whatever happens to us, has got the best interest for us in his heart, and he's going to take care of things. So Nebuchadnezzar, bad luck. And what happened? Nebuchadnezzar went off his brain. He raged and became furious, or you can be like Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego and just trust God. Next, please. Then Nebuchadnezzar, as was said, was furious with Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, and his attitude towards them changed. He ordered the furnace heated 7 times hotter. Gee whiz, just because they said no. Than usual, and commanded some of the strongest soldiers in his army to tie up Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego and throw them into the blazing furnace. You know, in the church we shouldn't be like that, but we tend to be so. Bureaucrats, government officials, tend very much to be like that. If somehow you just stand up against them, or you have a slight win over them, they automatically go into payback mode. Instead of saying, oh, I got it wrong, and yes, I should help you further, most bureaucrats become defensive, put up a wall, and do all that. But Nebuchadnezzar, he became furious, so furious that how dare anyone challenge him? After all, he has a very special and acknowledged relationship with God, And these so-called upstarts who think they know God, and they may have special abilities and talents, but how dare they tell me that I got it wrong? How can I get it wrong when God has already told me via Daniel that I'm the greatest? You minions, have a rethink. So he got furious with them. How dare someone little and insignificant dare stand up to me? So these men, wearing their robes, trousers, turbans and other clothes, in other words, they weren't even made ready, they were just tossed in, were bound and thrown into the blazing furnace. The king's command was so urgent and the furnace so hot that the flames of the fire killed the soldiers and took up Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, and these three men, firmly tied, fell into the blazing furnace. It was hot. What gets me is that the soldiers died, but still Shadrach, Meshach were already being protected by God. God could have kept them out of the furnace, but we know that he decided to keep them in the furnace. Then King Nebuchadnezzar leapt to his feet in amazement and asked his advisors, weren't there three men that were tied up and we threw into the fire? They replied, certainly, your majesty. He said, look, I see four men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed, and the fourth looks like a son of the gods. Next. Nebuchadnezzar then approached the opening of the blazing furnace and shouted, Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out here, come here. His rage, his fury had gone. Why? He realised that God was speaking to him again, and yes, he got it wrong. He got it wrong. He saw like a son of God in there with Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. Those who know that life is all about Jesus are never alone. God is with them. God is protecting them. God is keeping them. And that's us. We are being kept by God. We may not see it, but we are being kept by God. So Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego came out of the fire, and the satraps, prefects, governors and royal advisors crowded around them. They saw that the fire had not harmed their bodies, nor was the hair of their heads singed, their robes were not scorched, and there was no smell of fire on them. Well, here's Nebuchadnezzar, the greatest, that had a special relationship with God, according to Daniel. Here's Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, who weren't singing about how great they were. Is that what they say? God will keep me. Their faith was strong. God will keep me. They were prepared to be bold. Why? Because they knew that God will keep me. And so everybody was amazed. They come out and there's nothing wrong with them. And then Nebuchadnezzar said, praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, who has sent his angel and rescued his servants. They trusted in him and defied the king's command and were willing to give up their lives rather than serve or worship any god except their own God. Wow, what a powerful message. The greatest has suddenly realised how insignificant he really is. That God is the greatest. That here are the servants who knew God so much, so well, and relied on him to such an extent that they were prepared to defy the greatest. Because they knew who God was, and they knew what was their will for their life by God. Not to be the best rulers of the provinces, not to be the best dancers, not to be the best guitar players, not to be the best singers, not to be the best songwriters, not to be the best politicians, not to be the best bureaucrats. Sure, all that may have come about, but their job was to remain faithful to God so that everybody else can see how good, how just, and how great God is. So what's part of the will for our life? Number one, know that we are where God wants us to be, that life is all about Jesus, and that we are to just reflect that we have that trust and faith in God, like those three did. And then what did Nebuchadnezzar then do? Therefore I decree that the people of any nation or language who say anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego be cut into pieces and their houses be turned into piles of rubble, for no other God can save in this way. You really think God needed that help? Nebuchadnezzar still didn't get it. He's giving praise to God and said, if anybody, I'm making a rule, if anybody has a go at God, you've got me to deal with and you're going to get killed, blah, blah, blah. He still doesn't get it. God had just shown him how what life's all about and what the important thing is in knowing God. And he still wanted to do the Frank Sinatra song. I did it my way. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego into the province of Babylon. Well, they didn't reject the promotion, of course, because it's God's will, isn't it? Because God's leading them. He wants them to be in charge so that the people will not be scared into coming into God and knowing God, but will be educated and respected into coming and knowing God. Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, they didn't put on a tantrum. They didn't put on a big dummy spit like King Nebuchadnezzar did. They went about their way, faithfully serving God. In the church today, we are supposed to faithfully serve God. But guess what? Life around us changes. Things happen. I can no longer, believe it or not, run a mile in just over 4 minutes.
You can't?
I can no longer do it. I could do it once. I could. I could run 400 metres, at Olympic times. But I don't think I can do it now. Life changes, so I've got to be able to do things in a different way. And the same is with the approach to how I deal with people, how I reflect God. I mean, you still get cranky and we shouldn't. I'm reading a book, a wonderful book that Carolyn gave me the other day. It's called Who Stole My Church? It's a bit about I did it my way. And in it talks about once upon a time you could go up to a stranger and you could talk about the 4 spiritual laws and they would listen to you and they'd make a decision. Today though, a stranger comes up and talks to you because of all that goes on. I'm not listening to any strangers. What do they know? What's their credentials? What are they on about? What's their life experience? We need to develop relationships with people before they'll make those sorts of decisions because they haven't had that Sunday school background or the church background from their parents and grandparents. I had a wedding just yesterday and I'm standing here and I'm talking to the groomspeople and they hadn't been into a church. They had not been into a church. And they walked in and went, oh, wow, is this what a church looks like? And I said, don't worry, the roof won't fall in, it's all trussed up right. And they didn't get me. I mean, most people don't get my jokes anyway, but they didn't get me. And it said, oh, I know a bit about church. I know that you've got reverends and pastors and ministers and priests and bishops, but I don't know what they all mean. And I said, well, ministers, priests, reverends, they're all shepherds. And they shepherd and look after. Oh, what's a deacon? And who's deacons? A deacon's ministers and all that. And I said, well, actually, the definition of a deacon is a table waiter, a servant. And deacons are the people who serve the church in practical ways. The ministers shepherd. And they got the picture. And I'm thinking, their age, when I was involved in Youth for Christ, I could talk to young people, and it wouldn't be about those sorts of things. It'd be about why should the devil have all the good music, as Larry Norman used to sing, or is there a how do we know that when we die that we will actually go to heaven? There was this presupposition and acceptance of God and an understanding that the kids of today and people of today don't have. So we've got to adapt and adjust. But what we've got to do is be prepared like Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. Make sure we're just reflecting God the way God wants. That's what He wants for our life. We need to know who He is, why we are where we are, because that's where God wants us, and that we are to reflect God to the people in the language they can understand. When I went to China, we did sort of just go and know nothing, but we still know nothing. But many people, when they go on the mission field, are prepared in cross-cultural communication. We really here, we've got to have cross-neighbour communication. You know, what is the Baptist church here? Oh, it's a Bible club. Well, you know, where everybody goes and they're sad. They don't know, they've never been inside a church. I mean, we've got to be, God's giving us an opportunity to do something. But do we do it our way or do we do it God's way? Let's have a look. Next, here it is. When things get hot, here's the point to ponder. When things get hot, is God with you? I've actually had the points to ponder back in front of you today. When things get hot, is God with you? Think about it. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they knew that when things get hot, God was definitely with them. They knew beforehand. When things get hot, do you believe that God is with you? If you believe that God is with you when things get hot, why do we do dummy sticks?
Because it's fun.
Why do we carry on? Why do we expect people to do it our way? If God is really with us, why do we do dummy sticks? And don't forget, if you feel like I'm pointing the finger at you, remember, whenever I point the finger, there are 1, 2, 3 and a half pointing back at me. Okay? What we also know about all this, in life, you won't never know. Sure, we can lose our soulmate as they get older or accidents happen or whatever. But we're never really alone. We're never really alone. God's with us. He's got us right where we're meant to be. He's showing us what we should be doing next. By the way, as I said before, what I did when I was 21 isn't necessarily what I should be doing when I'm 80. But I'll still be standing firm for God. And the important thing to remember is that whatever I do, my actions reveal Jesus to others. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the stand they took, the boldness they took, the understanding that God was with them, revealed God to Nebuchadnezzar. You may have to be thrown into a fiery furnace to get to the kings and princes and prime ministers of this world. That may be your job and task in this world, to be thrown into a horrible place just so someone else of importance that's going to have even greater influence than you and I will dream of, but you know, to bring to them the gospel message. God has got you where you are because He wants you to take the gospel message. That's it. He planted the people of Israel there to do it. They did a horrible job. And so, in order to get it right, God took them and delivered them into the hands of their enemies. You know, and we forget that Babylon, where they were, today was the heart of the Muslim world. The Bible tells us later on too, that the Babylonians, the Egyptians, the people of Israel have still got a special place and will bow before Jesus Christ. Next. What we do know is this. As Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, the God we serve is able to deliver us. Do you believe that? Do you believe that the God we serve is able to deliver us? If you believe it, your actions will show it. And they know, and He will deliver us. He will deliver us. We may die in a fiery furnace, but we'll be delivered. We'll be with Him in, the end of the book of Revelation. We know that already. He will deliver us. And then they say, but even if He does not, we will not serve other gods. And what other gods do we in the church serve? Sport, music, helping one another, all the things that we, programs and different things we do in the church. Are we doing it to please us or to please God? Are we using the gifts and the abilities and the talents that God's given us to make us feel proud and respected and honoured and letting everyone know that just how great God loves us? Or are we doing it because this is the way God wants us to do it and use it? Sometimes some of the gifts we have, we no longer, not that they'll never be used again, we no longer do because things happen, times change. Have a look at Peter. Peter was a fisherman. From what I understand, a very good one. He ended up becoming the leader of the church. Go figure. But even if he does not, we will not serve other gods. And finally, the point to ask yourself the question right now: who are you serving? Who are you serving? The God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, or the God according to me? The God according to me. Shall we pray? Dear Lord God, Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for men like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Lord, who stood firm despite the odds, and let the King know just how great you are. Father, help us in all that we do to let others know that who we come into contact by the way in which we live our life, by the way in which we react to events and circumstances, that our God is able to keep us, and that we will never, ever serve other gods. Be with us now, we ask in Jesus' blessed name.